Hey humans, Batsy here with probably the last episode of the One Chunk Challenge. Today's goal is to try to reach the bottom. As you might notice under me, the bedrock layer is right there, maybe 40 blocks away or something like that. I have been thinking a lot about what I wanted to do. I know I have skipped many farms I could do, but also I skipped many parts of Create that aren't renewable, especially things that involve copper or zinc. Can't realistically fit any of that within a chunk. Maybe, if anything, a drowned copper farm, but yeah. All of that aside, there is one thing I still haven't done in the build, and that is building. Well, an actual base. There is no workstation, there is no bed, or even a crafting table. That will be the goal for the day, to finish the chunk with the core part of the base. Also, a large percentage of humans that watch my videos are not subscribed, so you all better go hitting that subscribe button, otherwise I will sneak into your room at night, I will hang from the ceiling, and I will stare at you while you sleep. I'm joking, I love you humans, now into the video. The first thing I wanted to tackle is the storage system. If we're going for funnels, which I honestly don't know how else we would do it. This is pretty much as close to the wall as we can make it. Which allows us to place a mechanical arm underneath and let it do the job, but those honestly don't reach that far out. The reach of a mechanical arm is 5 blocks, a 5-block tall storage is not bad. But then it means one single mechanical arm for every row of chests. That's a lot of mechanical arms, you guys. Another option that should work for the funnels is a chute. If we're placing a chute above, it should drop the items below, and the funnels should be able to suck the items in without problems. We could have a row of chests like this, and it should start filling from the top funnel, and go down from there. Instead of the mechanical arm, which would already not reach the top one in this example. I love mechanical arms when there is room for them, but this many looks ridiculous. So, what I'm going to do is, make a circle around the chunk with conveyor belts, then place a bunch of chests all around it, a bunch of chutes above them all, and then all the funnels at the back. We probably want a conveyor belt underneath in case the chests are full, so it picks up whatever falls from the chute. And because we're working on the narrow space of a chunk, we should capitalize on the vertical space we have. I think the best idea is to split the storage in 2 sections. A top section that is 4 chests tall, with catwalks, and a ladder, to access it. Then a bottom section that is 5 or 6 chests tall, which can be accessed normally from the bottom of the room. Something else we should do is to mark the chests with their contents. Something I love to do by having blocks above or below the chests showing the block that they contain, or at least one of them. I much prefer this, than having a ton of signs all around. It's so much easier to find things, especially from a distance, and it doesn't require you to be reading all the signs all the time. Plus I think it looks more neat. I tied it all up with a brick floor and ceiling, and added enough lamps and so on to have it nicely illuminated. I also ended up making use of catwalks, since it allows to see through them, giving a more spacious feeling, and a ladder to access the top section. Before we see the end results, there is something I did between time lapses, and that's the unloading system. Of course we can't be walking to the conveyor belt, and manually throwing all the items on it, that would be too tedious. But I do have a plan for that, and Create makes unloading incredibly easy. At least compared to vanilla redstone anyway. We should be able to unload both shulkers and spare items. For that we're going to use a couple barrels for the input and output of shulkers, then an extra double chest to throw all the spare items we want. I think it should be as simple as adding a deployer underneath, and feeding the shulkers with a hopper from the barrel above. Now we just need a way for the shulkers to end up on the top barrel when they are empty. Here is where the shulker will be placed, so we're going to need a drill on this side to break it down. Now, we need to move the items upwards so they reach the right belt. It's not going to be pretty, but I'm thinking that maybe just a column of chutes with an encased fan will be simple enough. Right, this is too far from the belt. Alright, here works perfectly, then just a funnel to drop all the items, and that's pretty much done. It's not pretty, but I think it doesn't get more simple than this. I'm trying to think if we should move the shulker items into the chest to use the same column of chutes, or make a new one. What I don't like about this idea is that if we fill up the chest, and then the shulker tries to unload into the chest too, it's just going to double down, and clog the system for no reason. Even though the chutes should be quick enough to not matter anyway. Alright, I decided to go up with another row of chutes instead. And unload the items on the side with another funnel. It's silly, but to transfer items onto the chest we would have needed a chute above and then down. Because we can't have a funnel where the shulker will be placed. That means the chute is always going to suck up the shulker when we break it. With the way we did it though, we can place yet another row of chutes. So when the shulker gets sucked up, we bring it back down this line, and into the top barrel, where it should be. Yeah, I know, this is not very sophisticated, but this is as simple as it gets, and sometimes simplicity also means reliability, and that's always very much wanted. It would have been much better if the belt was at the same level as the unloader, but if it works, it works. We just need to make sure to place a filter with the shulker tag on it, and place it on the right chute, so we filter those out. Now as for the drill goes. We place a clutch on it, so we can disable it while it unloads. We place a stockpile and invert it, with the bar at a 1%, so it detects if it has items or not. Then simply use a redstone link to hook them up. Make sure you revert the stockpile. If we take the items out it goes offline, and if we place them back in it fires again, perfect. I think it's better to do this with a content observer, but I forgot how they worked. Although now as I'm editing the video, I think a content observer with an attribute filter saying empty shulker, with the redstone signal inverted, is what I needed. Either of them should work, so, use whatever you fancy more. Now we hook the power on the drill and deployer, and that's pretty much it. Make sure the drill doesn't have too much speed, otherwise it will instantly break the shulker before the signal is received, something I think with the content observer setup shouldn't happen, since with that setup it will always be offline unless it detects the empty shulker. All it's left to do now is to assign the filters on each of the chutes, so we select what items we want per chest column, then we assign all the filters on the funnels in the back, and the system is complete. Yeah, it seems to be working perfectly. Now the second should appear here any second now. There it is, awesome. I have also added this overflow vault underneath me. In case a chest column is full, the items will be thrown here. We should see the stone up here, there it is, awesome. I mean sure the unloading it's not the prettiest thing, but the rest is as efficient as it gets for the space we're working on. Now it's just a matter of making the rest of the filters, but I will spare the humans the pain to see that tedious task. And with that, the storage system is complete. I think it ended up looking rather nice, if I do say so myself. I added another station for the elevator on the floor, which doesn't look the prettiest, but it should do. Then added this slab bricks so they are tall enough to reach the top chests more easily, but not tall enough so we can see all these display blocks underneath. I think all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. It kinda looks like a library, but it's a bunch of chests instead of books. Of course up here, we have the rest of the chests, with their own display blocks above them. There is still room for more filter, I couldn't think of more stuff to filter out, but that's also good to have some spare ones for the future. Now it's time to go down, and finish up this base. I started by doing the roof. I want this section to look a little bit more rustic, since it's the core of the build, I didn't want to leave it industrial and dirty like the rest. I also thought the lamps all around the ceiling not only gives enough light to it, but also a more neat and tidy look, like it's a more thought-out interior, and not just a messy factory. The same goes for the floor. With the help of the chipped mod, I made a check pattern with some spruce variants. I was aiming for a cabin in the woods kind of vibe, with all the wood and stone, but you will see later on how I changed of plans, and went for a more outdoor little workshop, which I think was the right decision, and it ended up looking truly amazing, if I do say so myself. With the foundation done, and a rough idea of how I want to distribute things out, I think it's time to tackle the workstation part of it, starting by deciding what should be on it, and what isn't necessary, or already present in another part of the base. Alright, I think I have an idea of all the components I want to add on the workstation, so let's jump right into it. I think I'm going to start in this corner with the crushing wheels. It takes the most space, so it's a good idea to start there. I'm leaving enough room down there for a belt, which should move all items into the barrel below. Next I will be placing a mechanical saw, with a hopper to feed the wood into it. To gather the materials I just went for another belt underneath, and a couple trapdoors to make sure the items don't fly away too far. Once the belt is moving it should work perfectly. Next I'm going to place lava, a soul campfire, and water inside mangrove roots, that will smelt, wash and haunt any items we want, with of course the encased fans behind them. The mill is really simple to do, a funnel on top of it, and a hopper to move the products to the barrel below, which I'm pretty sure I changed for a funnel later on, since a hopper will also remove the materials from the mill. The next part is the press to make the metal sheets, a deployer to apply sandpaper onto rose quartz, and the second deployer to produce all types of casings. This section is really simple, it just requires the depots, and some funnels to move the items around, then some hoppers above to feed the sandpaper, and the different alloys for the casings, into their respective deployers. Which we will also make use of encased fans to move the items into the barrels below. Second to last it's the packing machine, which will work the same way, connected in line with the rest, with a basin underneath instead of a depot, and the same funnels and encased fan to move the items. And last is the mixer, which we will place down at the same level, but with a block gap in between so we can walk in here in case something needs tweaking later on. With an accessible blaze burner underneath for the recipes that require that. Then we're going to use a funnel leading into a hopper to gather the resulting products. Some recipes also require water, so we're going to make a 3-block hole on the floor, and make an infinite water source, placing a pump right above it, which should feed any water we need into the basin. And that's pretty much it. We have the door to walk in the back of it, then some trapdoors to access the various parts we might need to access to. Yeah, it's looking great. Now I'm going to connect everything up, and place down all the necessary filters. If you're interested in making a workstation, I recommend you watching a video I made in more detail about it, which should be more explanatory than this. With the workstation done, I'm thinking on adding a small machine to produce precision mechanism, since that's a really needed contraption, and we don't have one in the base yet. All it takes is a conveyor belt on the ground, another 3-block long belt at the top of it, then a row of deployers, with a hopper feeding each one of them. On the right side we place a chute to move the items downwards, with a barrel on top to filter out the completed mechanism. At the bottom I decided to use a weighted ejector, so we can move the items upwards, with the same belt we had before. It's missing a funnel on the top belt leading to the barrel, which I will place later on, but that should complete the cycle nicely. Now all it's left is to connect it, and decorate things around. Alright, it seems like it's moving the right direction now. I think this is pretty much done now. Yeah, it's looking good. I also made this bed, because we still didn't had one in the base. I think it looks quite funny with the roof and all. Yeah, I think it looks nice, with the campfires and all. Over here I placed down this tank with lava. The idea was like one of those big water tanks, for like trains and other stuff. I thought was a neat idea, in case we need lava for some reason, we can store it here and pick it up later. Let me give you humans a look around the base from above. So I changed it to look like a little rustic factory of sorts, with a little shelf on the side or something. I wanted to make it look like we are outside even though we are at bedrock level. I thought was a funny idea. But I honestly really love how all turned out. It's not incredibly detailed, but it's really cool looking. Of course above us, I made a brick wall connection into the storage system, which is also looking pretty cool. Very library vibe, with also all the display blocks and everything. I really love the looks. But this is pretty much it. It took a long time, but the one chunk base it's finally done, and what a journey it has been. It's been month now since I start building in this chunk, and I think this last piece it's that last part this base needed, and I couldn't be happier with the results. I hope the humans loved the journey as much as I did. I will be making a base tour video soon, and after that I'm likely going to be focusing on the videos of the SMP. I will be making an industrial district soon, so that will be a fun project to tackle. Anyway, I'm so grateful if you made it this far into the series. Thank you so much for watching it till the end, and I hope to see you all in the next one.